Hi folks, Tim Newman with Soft Light Studios, and it's time for yet again another A Shot a Day. This time it's June 11th, 2019. Sometimes I feel a little bit like Walter Cronkite. Nah, that's a stretch. At any rate, this picture here was taken in Kyoto, Japan at the Fukushima Inari Taisha Shrine. I challenge you to say that 3 times really, really fast. I can tell you that we got up super early in the morning and caught the train line out here to catch this. Once this place gets hopping, it's almost impossible to get a shot like this. And even as early as we were, this was still a challenge. I hope you like it. Let's take a look at how this shot was put together. First, our exposure settings. As you can see, this was shot at an ISO of 8,000. Very early in the morning, pretty low light, so I had to crank that ISO up there. A little further than I normally like to crank ISO, but it was the only way I could get the shot. This was taken at 1/20th of a second, which is kind of pushing those handheld limits a little bit. F8, I would have liked to have gone with a little more aperture here, but when you increase the aperture, you have to decrease the shutter speed, and that's a problem. It's a balancing act. Last but not least, exposure compensation here of 2/3 of a stop in the negative direction. This scene metered a little dark, and therefore the camera boosted the exposure further than it should, so we had to throttle that back a little bit. Let's take a look at the gear that was used here. Again, the Sony a7R III was used for this shot with Sony's FE 12 to 24mm f4 Master lens, shot at 16 millimeters this time. Took the filters off, didn't want to lose those 2 stops of light that a polarizer would have taken out. So those got knocked off the camera for a second. A really right stuff L bracket, which I always have on my camera along with its battery grip, but no time for a tripod here. This shot was one of those run and guns in order to get it and move out of the way or get the picture before the next person popped into view. Last but not least, let's take a look at composition. Obviously, I think when you look at this picture after this frame is gone, you'll see leading lines. Point of view is very important. Symmetry matters here quite a bit. And one of the more subtle points here that I think is really important is the notion of tonal balance. We have basically a little over 2/3 of the frame dedicated to bright orange colors, and the bottom, I would say, third of the frame, really nice, dark, anchoring material in here. And wherein we normally take the viewer's eye and take it down the brightest part of the path, this dark anchoring section down here at the bottom gives a really great place for the viewer to work their way into the scene and then exit the scene kind of there at the back middle of the frame. One of the things that I think is really cool here, and I tend to like in symmetry and pattern shots, is I love the lantern as the one element that sticks out as being unique in the shot. So there you go, folks. There's our thought on that picture. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you find this series to be continually valuable to you. Remember, look for that subscribe button down there right below this video so that you can get updates every day when we put out these new shot a day images. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, as we always say, learning equals skills. Practice equals mastery. We'll see you out there.